Yeah, my parents were definitely comer-inners.
Yeah.
And is this an active mic?
This is a speaker.
Ah.
Yeah, it's satellite. It's a speaker.
Hang on.
Good morning. My name is Betty Gilson, and I'm your lay leader today. I warmly welcome you all to First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church in Bridgewater. I've been a member here for longer than I can remember. I'm a member of the Caring Committee and the Social Justice Committee and the Peace Committee, and poke my nose in a lot of places. What I like about First Parish is how generous folks were, always. When I first came here and continue to be, as you will see evidence when you go to coffee hour today, because we had so much food at the pumpkin party that we're all going to get a feast today. So that's the way it is here at First Parish. Today we have a guest preacher. We're very fortunate to have Reverend Sara Person, and those of you who are in the sanctuary will have a very nice resume about her work. For those of you online, I just want to let you know that she was minister at our sister church in Middleborough for several years, and we've worked with her on other adventures in the past, and we're very happy to have her here. But though she's retired, she continues to do a lot of wonderful things with the New England region and the UUA and peer facilitators. And so if you want to know more about her, talk with her at coffee hour today. Before we begin our time in worship, we do have some announcements here. Jan, you have one you want to start? All right, and then I'll go on with the others.
Thanks, Betty. Being first will help me get back up to the loft quickly. So, for Thanksgiving this year, we are doing our traditional annual Thanksgiving celebration. It's going to be November 28th, Thursday, this year. And, oh, let me see, I have it here. Well, it's going to be a potluck, so we would love to have you bring, mostly like what's traditional for you. The turkey, I got the turkey already, so I was first in line for that. You can bring a turkey too if you want, but there's all kinds of other things that we would like you to bring. So we're going to give thanks for the many blessings we receive from and give to our First Parish family, friends, and community. So if, if there's no place else you've really got to be, or if this is really the best place you want to be, which it is for me, then come and join us. It's going to start at 1 o'clock with appetizers and 2 o'clock with dinner, and afterwards naps, likely. That was Paul Meekin. That was our new office administrator. He throws things in like that. So there's a sign-up sheet, which will be in the upper parish hall during coffee hour, and Denise is going to be going around and chasing you down to see if you'd like to come and what you'd like to bring. If you'd like to come but you don't know yet what you'd like to bring, just tell her how many people will be there so we can prepare for that. Otherwise, you can get in touch with me or Denise any time by email or phone for that. And okay, I sure hope to see you all there. Who makes a really good stuffing? No, nobody. Am I going to have to do the stuffing too? I make a good stuffing. But anyway, hope someone else will do that, and hope we'll see you there. Bye.
We also still have room for people to sign up for coffee hours, so if you would like to do that, please check in with Debbie at the coffee hour today, and she'll be glad to find a slot for you on that list. Does anyone else have any other announcements? All right, I just want to remind folks that we did change the book club meeting from this past Friday night to the coming Friday night, November 1st, here at church. We'll be talking about a nonfiction book, The Sixth Extinction, which is about as dire as the title sounds, but a lot of good information, and if you would like to join us, please come. It's at 7 o'clock here at the church. All right. At this time, we will now enjoy the prelude by Denise. And in my eagerness to welcome the minister today, I kind of forgot to welcome all of you here, so we're going backwards a little bit here. First Parish is a welcoming congregation. We proudly fly the rainbow flag to symbolize our welcome to people of all identities, ages, and backgrounds. If you're new to First Parish, we hope you enjoy your experience this morning. We encourage you to fill out the guest book at the entry if you did not already, and include your name and your email address if you'd like to receive church updates. Anybody joining online, you can put your information in the chat online. We invite you all here in person to join us afterwards in the upper parish hall to your right for that time of refreshments that I did mention before. All right, the service is hosted via Zoom and recorded on cable TV, and now it's also on YouTube. So anyone who has to miss a service for some reason can catch up that way. All right, but to protect your privacy during the joys and concerns, the camera will be turned off at that time. In the event of an emergency or evacuation drill, please leave through the main entrance, or if you need a ramp, go out through the side door. All right, and meet outside at the School Street entrance. All right, now we will begin the rest of the service.
This chalice lighting this morning is different than we usually have. It's called Coming of Age Chalice Lighting by Rebecca Pankhurst. This light unites us. This light unites us with our neighbors, our friends, and our enemies. Most importantly, this light unites us within ourselves, our hearts, our souls, our spirits. This light unites us. Betty, you want to read the affirmation?
At this time, we will join together for the affirmation of our covenant and our aspirations. So stand as you are able. The words are up here on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another.
Please turn to the insert in your orders of service, and we will read together our opening words, Someday, by Margaret Williams Braxton. Once upon a time I was.
Now I am.
Someday I will become.
Once there was.
And now there is.
Once upon a time we were.
Now we are.
Someday, hallelujah, we shall surely become. I invite you to rise again in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, hymn number 1058 in the Teal hymnal, Be Ours a Religion. We're going to sing it through twice. concerns?
At this time in the service, you're welcome to come forward and light a candle of joy or concern. If you would like to say that, speak that, please keep it short in the interest of the length of the service. But if you'd like to do it silently, you may do that.
May we remember those who have spoken, those they have named, and those we hold in our hearts. Source of wonder, breath of life, lift up our hearts that we may be at ease, and quiet our minds that we may hold one another in the deep and abiding care of this beloved community. Today, most of the tree branches are still laden with color. Perhaps tomorrow, maybe in the weeks to come, the branches and all beneath them in this country will be laid bare by the winds of elation and turmoil. We do not know what will happen, but we can treasure one another's presence and we can nurture one another's souls. In this time, and maybe even in this space, may we offer each other our humanity, our strength, our frailty, our fears, and our love. May we offer one another our commitment to be shaped and to be transformed by the meeting between our foundational values and our love and the events that are going to surround us. May we anticipate the coming of winter and the coming of spring. The death of the blossom and the sprouting of the seed, the severing of our connections, and the serenity of reconciliation. May love be the seed of our winter selves. Love is beyond death and winter, so we tell ourselves, and may it be so. So I invite you to hold these words or whatever thoughts they brought to mind in silence for a few minutes. May all be held in healing. May all be held in peace. And let us say amen. Please rise in body or in spirit, and let's sing our second hymn of the morning, There is More Love Somewhere, number 95 in your gray hymnals.
At First Parish, we're always happy to have you share your time and your talents, and now's the time to share your treasure. We will be taking the offering today for the works of this church, but we will also be taking it for our charity of the month, which is the Massachusetts Center for Native American Awareness. The MCNAA is a group that supports Native elders and low-income Indigenous families. If you would like to make a special offering to that group, you can write a check to First Parish and put MCNAA in the memo line. Thank you very much for your generosity. I think we need to ushers.
Thank you, Denise. Our reading this morning is by Adrienne Marie Brown, and it's about fractals. Some of you may know what those are, some of you may not yet. A fractal is a never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. How many of you are familiar with a nautilus shell? Or, some of the patterns on birds. And we can create them using computers. It was one of the first works of art that we created using computers. But the message of the fractal is that how we are at the small scale is how we are at the large scale. These patterns emerge not just in computers, but also in local, regional, state, and global levels. Basically, wherever two or more social change agents are gathered. There's just so much awareness about it, and some beautiful work happening to shift organizational cultures. And this may be the most important element to understand, that what we practice on the small scale sets the patterns for the whole system. In a fractal conception, I am a cell-sized unit of the human organism, and I have to use my life to leverage a shift in that system by how I am as much as the things I do. This means actually being in my life, and it means bringing my values into my daily decision-making. Each day should be lived on purpose. I'm learning to engage in generative conflict, to say no, to feel my limits, taking time to feel my heartache when it comes, from living in the part of the planet that we call the US, from interpersonal trauma or grief, from movement losses. It has meant learning to work collaboratively. At a collective level, this is the invitation to practice the world we wish to see in the current landscape. Yes, resist the onslaught of oppression, but measure our success not just by what we stop, but by how many of us feel and can say, I am living a life I do not regret, a life that will resonate with my ancestors and with as many generations forward as I can imagine. I am attending to the crises of my time with my best self. I am of communities that are doing our collective best to honor our ancestors and all humans to come. Here ends the reading. Now, before I begin, how many of you like to watch the Robot Wars or BattleBots on TV? It's all right. You can raise your hand. Admit it. Oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Choir, please come forward, and I'll start again after. choir. And thank you for the selection, and I apologize for turning the page. So now we have just a few people have admitted that they like robot wars and battle bots, and you'll be relieved that I'm not going to actually talk about them. I'm going to talk this morning about our youth and about less bloodthirsty challenges. So these less bloodthirsty challenges are brought to you by the FIRST Robotics competitions for high school students. And for the younger kids, Lego Leagues. How many of you are familiar with Lego Leagues or FIRST? Oh, okay, great. There's like a tech challenge for the middle schoolers, and also they have taken these challenges globally. So there's FIRST Global, and they've invited high schoolers from countries all around the world to represent their countries and to engage in kind of championship competitions and what they call cooperatitions. So the notion is for all of these activities that the kids are competing, yes, but they're also collaborating. And they win points for collaborating and helping each other. Before I get into this, I want to offer a disclaimer. I do not have an aptitude for things mechanical or programmable, but I do have much admiration for those who do. I cannot troubleshoot when things break down because I take it personally. I firmly believe, and have for decades, that the damn devices are out to get me. And I am very lucky that I have Alan as my husband, who is the complete opposite, and he's also opposite in that he's always curious about how things work. You know, he'll go down those rabbit holes, and he will figure it out, and he'll be able to fix things. Actually, come to think of it, most of my family is my opposite on this, which is probably the only reason why I am able to function in the world. So I know that they have been very amused that I am talking about STEM education this morning. Yes, the teachers know, but it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And, but the thing is, I'm not actually talking about STEM. I'm talking about the innovators, and I'm talking about the imagination made real, and I'm talking about change agents in the world, no matter how old they are. And I'm talking about how to nurture them and how some ideas that are floating around in this soup that we call life will foster great progress, and that some ideas will foster great harm. So I invite you, if you prefer to read something rather than listening, you can take a look at the handout that I provided you, because it's going to cover all of this vision stuff, and you can read it instead of listening to me for a while. It's okay. Now, the Declaration of Interdependence and the accompanying document, on the flip side, were written by Dean Kamen. Dean is Jewish. He is also a wonderful innovator, inventor. He's very creative, and he's the founder of a lot of nonprofits supporting kids and STEM education. And this he wrote after October 7th of last year. So this was his response to that atrocity. And it is his vision for the youth of the world and for our future. I consider him to be a rather large cell-sized unit. On September 26th, I was sitting next to my husband in the Pan-Athenaic Stadium, and my tush was resting on a marble bleacher. The stadium had been renovated entirely in marble, around 144 in the Common Era. And it was renovated so that 50,000 people could watch the first Olympic Games, the first Games. And here we were, 1,980 years later, and we were surrounded by rock music, light displays, big screens, and more than 1,000 kids. Luckily, marble is excellent at withstanding vibrations. And these teens were wild. They paraded, the flags waving, they're dancing. They were dressed in traditional clothes from their home countries. And their glee was exhilarating. The entire week was exhilarating. And now Alan is going to play a short video so that you get a sense of what it was
Welcome everyone to Athens.
Thank you. So you get a sense of what it was like to be there with the kids. What they were doing were building robots that could perform certain functions that are very difficult for robots. One, they have to be able to, spin, moving and spinning, and they have to go up a almost like a teeter-totter ramp to get up there, and the kids have to watch and balance the robots so that they don't fall over, which they did. And then the robots have to pick up those balls and lift them up and put them in the correct containers. And all of this involves very careful programming and control. And they all get the same kit. They don't all get the same programming. They have to figure out how to do this. So FIRST actually stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. So this is the first annual international competition for these kids. And this year, teams from there are 195 countries, by the way, in the world, and 2 what they call observer nations. You know, they are Palestine and the Vatican, the Holy See in the Vatican. So there were teams from 192 countries and also Palestine representing first, second, and third world nations, and they were all there competing in Athens, Greece. There were some nations who were able to send their kids despite the fact that their countries were undergoing armed conflict at the time. Ukraine had a team, Palestine had a team, Haiti, Israel, Burkina Faso, Sudan, Turkey, Democratic Republic of the Congo, China, India, and others. Some teams were forced to stay behind or had to accept last-minute restrictions. Sudan only allowed 2 kids of their entire team to come to Greece, only 2 of them, and I think that was because they were brother and sister, and they were going to come back. When the other teams heard about this, now you have to understand, these teams are at least 5, most often more than that, like 7 to 10, because prepping the robots and programming them and controlling them takes a lot of kid power. So when these 2, when this brother and sister showed up, the other kids realized what was going on, and 4 boys from the Polish team came and they helped them. They helped them the entire time. And that was because that's what this competition was all about. I had to ask myself about the folks who originated this whole experience. I mean, this has been going on. I think Dean Kamen started FIRST Robotics in 1989, and he had the first national competition, I think, in 1992, and this was in the US. And he did this with a fellow named Woody Flowers. And some of you know who Woody Flowers is. He taught at MIT for years, and he taught the most popular class at MIT ever. He designed competitions for the kids in his class. And when Dean Kamen wanted to do this for other kids around the country, he teamed up with Woody Flowers, and they are known for doing this work all around the world. Dean is responsible for, let's see, the Segway. Some of you know what that was. So it got sold for umpteen million, but he was. So it turns out Dean was a phenom even as a kid. So when he was in high school, he designed things for other groups in town, for corporations in town, and by the time that he graduated from high school, he was earning $60,000 a year just inventing things for companies. And while he was in high school, he and his brother, his older brother, Bart for short, were working in their garage on a different kind of infusion pump. And this became what we now have today as an infusion pump for insulin. So it is the standard today for the pumps that we're using. He and Bart invented this in their garage. So he did go to college for a few years, but he left and started his career of innovation and inventing and translating that into world-changing creations. But what he wanted to do was change the world for kids. So I started looking at what they had in common. And of course, Woody Flowers passed away in 2019, and I can't speak for Dean Kamen, but as to what motivated them. But there were some commonalities in their life experiences, and commonalities in the deep pockets folks like John Abele, that supported them in this. Both had disabilities. So Dean Kamen was dyslexic. He was severely dyslexic. Flowers actually fell out of a tree when he was 7 years old, and he badly injured his elbow and his shoulder to the point where they never healed properly. And he couldn't use his arm, he couldn't extend his arm. Neither of them had children of their own, but they saw themselves as enabling kids to thrive with STEM-centered experiences as their legacy. Both of them, actually, most of their creations are in the field of medicine, helping to create robotic arms and legs for paraplegics, and also in, like I said, dispensing medication in a better way to people. The other thing that was really important to them was that the creations that they and the kids were doing were not used for any kind of conflict. Woody Flowers actually, in part, was just his nature, but in part, he was in a devastating accident when he was 17 years old. He was in a car with his friends. Another car came at them and hit them at 100 miles an hour, they estimated. He lost 2 of his friends then. And when he ended up being able to continue on with his life, and when he was at MIT, he point blank refused to create anything that was going to be used to crash into anything else. So, no, they were not involved with battle bots and robot wars, but they were involved in creating opportunities for kids from all over, no matter what their background or inclination, to be able to work together inventing something. How did they do this? I mean, not every kid can afford to, build their own robot in their garage, much less having a garage. So what they do is they get the word out to teachers and schools and media outlets and corporations, and they encourage teams to be formed. Even I could be a mentor for a team, having no experience whatsoever, but I do know how kids work, and so as long as there's 2 of us, we could do that together. The kids do raise some money for themselves, but the kits are pretty affordable for a group, and they travel all over the country going to competitions. Teams from other countries also have this support, but they also have ministries of education in their areas and their regions and also in their countries. And they have gotten support for this. Corporations, international corporations, have supported kids with these. The vision that drove Kamen and Flowers and other folks who were involved in this is that science and technology and engineering and mathematics be used to help people thrive. So the projects are centered around food and water and climate right now. Their vision is to alleviate problems for people with disabilities. They also want to improve the way medicine delivers services and treatments, but they're also paying attention to the kids, and they want the kids to develop empathy. which can be hard. They want kids to stop thinking that everything's, a race to the finish and a competition, and they want kids to understand how important it is to collaborate, because we are not going to be able to survive this world unless we realize we're not going to do it alone. They also want kids to develop a sense of purpose that's beyond themselves. So a sense of allegiance to something beyond taking care of themselves and what they can get. So why is this important? FDR once said, "We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future." And one of the things that has been so clear to me over the past year, actually more, is that there are ideas out there that will suffocate our humanity. That will suffocate our humanity as surely as a raised voice or a fist. And these are ideas about the real world. And I know that you have been hearing them. I know that you heard them growing up. I know that you're hearing a lot more of them now, but ideas like the real world is us versus them. Okay? The real world is if they get more, then we'll lose out. Life is a zero-sum game. If they get more, we're going to lose out. In the real world, there always have to be winners and losers in order for things to work the way they should. Always winners and losers. In the real world, might makes right. Hey, more than that, it doesn't matter who gets hurt. Collateral damage is acceptable. You know what? The world, it's always been this way, so don't trust change. And the truth is only okay if it doesn't challenge our belief about the way the world works. Now, I'm going to let my anger peek out a little bit more here. These ideas, I believe, are sustained by willful ignorance and the fear of losing power. And the even greater fear of losing power over the truth. And I think these ideas right now are killing all of us. They're starving all of us. They're stealing our past and they're stealing our future. And in neon lights over my head, it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. And I believe firmly that it has to stop. It's not going to stop in my lifetime. It's not going to stop in yours, but it has to stop. These ideas, they're holding our kids back. They're holding our children back. If they're going to thrive, if they're going to have a future, we need to give them better ideas. And I think that this is what our faith has been about, is giving people better ideas of how the world works and how we are in it. And I think that we need to keep creating a safe place physically, educationally, socially, culturally, for our kids to explore possibilities and exceed the boundaries of our fears. Right now, of those 195 countries and 2 observer states in the world, at least 110, and some sources say 120, are engaged in armed conflicts, either within the boundaries of their countries or with other nation states. The children that I saw in Athens, children from the Ukraine, from Palestine, and the others, have returned home. And they've returned to living, for some of them, under immediate threat. So last year, like I said, after October 7th, Dean Kamen introduced this Declaration of Interdependence and the Bill of Responsibilities. And he lays out his vision that's been driving him and others like him all these decades. It's a refutation of the roots of violence. And it was created for all parties from all 193 countries to sign. And they did. So what is it in your life? What is it that will make you declare, it doesn't have to be this way? I had my moment when I was in college. I want you to think back on your life. Think of yourself as a single cell in a human organism that maybe, perhaps, has the very first tool ever used, Adrienne Marie Brown's lever. And how would you have used it then in your life? To change things, to change how you were reacting to the world around you. And how would you use it now? How would you use your love, your legacy, to change the world if you could? We're not all Dean Kamens, fabulous billionaires, geniuses, but what if you could? What if you could do something? What would you support? Maybe even just start with, what would you change in yourself that keeps you from picking up that lever? It's not our job to toughen our children up to face a cruel and heartless world. It's our job to raise children who will make the world a little less cruel and heartless. And that was L.R. Knost, who's fairly well known in gentle parenting. So I guess I leave you with a question: how might we help raise children who will make the world a little less cruel and heartless? And whatever that is, we've got to do more. I'll tell you how I left Greece. I left it with a lot more hope than I'd had when I got there. I left determined to somehow fix the mess my generation will leave behind, even if it's helping kids who have the tools they need, just helping them. The right to challenge your assumptions about history and the way that life ought to be. And to let them take that risk to challenge me because they know I care about them. I think they'll need a safer place and space to make mistakes, to lose, to survive, to grow, to thrive. I think I want to pass on where I can the knowledge and the values and the will and the judgment to resist the herd mentality, not just in science, but also in their society. And if possible, I would like to share with them the empathy and compassion to always, always consider the consequences of their conduct on others. And I'd want them to want to leave a legacy of their own. So, in the competition and cooperation, Team Moldova won 2 gold medals, including the first global winning alliance with China and Madagascar and the Cook Islands. Team Mexico won the Albert Einstein Award, which is given to the team with the best performing robots and who best exemplify the first global community. Team Mexico. The Team United Arab Emirates won a silver medal. And by the way, you know, I was talking with the kids before the competitions, and the UAE kids actually developed a robot program. I don't know if it was the robot that they were using, but a robot program to detect microplastics in food and water in the UAE. This is apparently a severe problem for them. But what they've done is going to help the rest of us, including Middleborough, hopefully. And last but not least, my favorite, Team Haiti. Now think about what's going on in their country right now, and think about what's going on about them in our country right now. Team Haiti, a team of 5 teenagers, won 2 awards and were listed as among the top 10 innovators in the world. Yep. I'm more pleased to share that with you than I think anything else I've talked about so far. So, let's sing to those kids. Let's stand up in body or in spirit and sing hymn number 1028, The Fire of Commitment. And I would suggest that maybe we sing the first verse, the third verse, first and third verses, and the chorus. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated and turn to the insert in your order of service. The flip side has our unison benediction for the morning. Go out into the world with peace and have courage. Hold on, let us prove.
all please join with me as we read the words for extinguishing the chalice.
We need to extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Worship has ended. Our time of visiting has begun. Join us in the other room.